Oh my God, my mic was muted. I am so sorry for that. Rookie mistake by the kid. And again, welcome to the Etoft21sports Show for September 12th. How is everyone doing? My name is Eric. I'm the man behind Etoft21sports. Great show lined up for you today. Wade from Wade's Bets is going to be coming on. Him and I are going to look back at week one of the NFL season, talk about week two, share what bets we're going to lock in. Gino will have his horse racing bet of the day. Reminder, I'm going to be making Thrive fantasy videos every single day. There's an NFL game. Make sure to check that out. Let's jump into the show because I messed up the intro, and let's see what Gino has cooking for us over at Woodbine.
Best bet comes this week at Woodbine for Thursday. We're going to take a look at race number 5 in a race that has a lot of early speed on paper. You've got the 1, Sugar Ray, wants to go to the lead. The 2, McLean's Posse, fast, wants to be close up. Same thing with the 3, Boston Tea Party. Just those 3 alone are going to make it pretty quick. But then you add in horses like Cotton, who wants to be close up. Malibu Edge is cutting back, but he still wants to be forward, so they're going to try to get as close to the pace early on. It's going to set up well for horses coming from off the pace, and the one in particular I like is Ready for a Fight. This guy was a little slow from the inside last time out and just got shuffled too far back. They will be going fast in here early, and he should get plenty of pace to chase. He faced some really tough runners a few starts back in Dream Shake and an Anarchist, and his form in the other races makes a lot of sense in here. Ready for a Fight, 8-1 on the morning line. My value line was 5, so if he's anything in that 5-1 range or above, let's make a win wager on him. Thursday, over at Woodbine, race number 5. Best of luck. Make sure to tune in each and every week to Eric's show right here for the best info in sports.
Make sure to give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me, Gino B. I'm on his podcast every single week, having be talking about NBA, NFL, whatever. I'm there. Also, Gino and I are on the DRF Sportsbook Show, The Winning Ticket, every single Friday night at 6 p.m., sharing our best NFL and college football bets of the weekend. Now, I'm really excited to welcome this week's guest to the show. First timer coming on, great guy. We got a chance to talk a little bit before he came on. Really knows his stuff. You can find his bets over at Dub Club, so make sure to check that out. Let's welcome Wade from Wade's Bets to the show. Wade, how you doing today, my man?
Hey, man, everything's going good. How things with you over there?
Well, besides my rookie-ass mistake by having my mic muted, stuff's going good. My boy Bobby's already talking shit, calling me a rookie. So look, before we jump into all this, we have this thing we do with takeaways and, bets and everything. I need to ask you, Aaron Rodgers, is that karma? I mean, what's your take on Rodgers going down last night?
I think everybody's shocked, to say the least. It's unfortunate for him. I was hoping he would go over there and at least play well. I'm a Vikings fan, so it's hard to root for somebody that comes from the Packers world. But, I think I wanted to see him play well over there. Jets have been in purgatory forever. Fourth play of the game. I mean, what do you say about that? And then you got Zach Wilson coming in. I mean, nobody's high on him. So they've got a great team, though. They've got good defense, good special teams. They can run the ball, clearly. It's all going to be about Zach Wilson not turning the ball over at this point because, if Rodgers is not coming back until next year at least. So,
and if he comes back, he's in his 40s. Is he going to be able to bounce back from that serious injury? I don't know. Also, it's going to be interesting. Do they go for Carson Wentz? Do they just go get Carson Wentz? Do they trade for, what's his name, Brissett? Trade for Davis Mills? There's a lot of interesting things they can definitely do. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm just happy that I was able to cash that plus 2.5 yesterday. That was great. Another thing that happened big over the weekend, and Bobby's asking this, my fellow Spartan, thoughts on Mel Tucker. I'm the Michigan State guy. If you want to hear my 2 cents first, I can go off on this.
Yep, go ahead.
So this is my take on it. The more I thought about this. So basically, I read the article and then I started thinking, how is this stuff going to get out? It's only going to get out if someone leaks it out. Who's going to leak it out? Mel Tucker ain't going to leak it out. The girl in the article ain't going to leak it out. Someone from Michigan State's going to leak it out. So with that being said, I personally think that someone maybe on the board of trustees, someone higher up, they're realizing this Mel Tucker contract is absolute garbage. And they're trying to get out of it. And they're leaking it out because of that. That's my 2 cents. I don't know. I mean, from thinking about it and reading the article, that's where I came from. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What do you think, my friend?
I'm first time to hearing that, but I think you're right on the money where that is, because just something doesn't seem right with the whole story. I read a couple articles as well. It just doesn't seem to sit right. Why would, Tucker, like you said, Tucker's not going to leak this out, and the girl's surely not going to leak this out. So somebody on the board, somebody is not particularly happy with the way Michigan State's been performing over the last few years. Like you mentioned before the call, they're not getting any of the stud players right now, and which means they can't compete with Ohio State, Michigan. It's just a bad look for Michigan State right now. But like you said, it may be time to just clean house and get things back in order.
And the thing is Fickle wanted to go there. And then the wife was like, hey, let's look and see what's going on at Michigan State. I don't like what's going on at Michigan State. We're not going to go there. And then everything just kind of went down. Yep. I wanted them to hire Craig Bull, the guy from Wyoming. They didn't do it. I think it was a mistake. And this is where they are now. They're stuck with Mel Tucker. I want to say what up to my boy, Cool Kev. Cool Kev, what is up, my friend? Thanks for tuning in. Basically how the show works for the guys watching for the first time is we each have 2 takeaways from the previous week. Wade is the guest, so I'm going to let Wade kick off. Wade, what is your first takeaway from week 1 of that?
I'm going to go with the Chargers, man. I think a lot of people are high on them this year. A lot of people want to see them take the next step, especially with Herbert before his big contract comes up. They've got to take advantage of that. And my biggest takeaway is their defense, man. They've got Brandon Staley, who came over as a defensive-minded head coach, and he's yet to really have them perform as really an elite defense. When they came in, I think they came in ranked in the middle of the pack this year. But they've got to be better to help Herbert and the team make another leap. I mean, they have playmakers at every level. They were almost fully healthy this last game. They had one missing rotation player, and not a starter either. So for them to allow 500 yards to a team, even though the Dolphins are explosive, they traveled across the country and they weren't able to stop that offense at all. And I think what was most surprising to me is last season, Chargers had no problems with the Dolphins. They were able to play press coverage. They were able to put their hands on the receivers, and they couldn't really get open like they did. They had all sorts of problems with the Miami's pre-snap motion. I mean, they had free releases everywhere. And when you've got players, like Hill and Jalen Waddle, I mean, you just can't do that. And I don't think we really saw many adjustments after halftime either. Right? There's really no in-game adjustments. I mean, maybe kind of hard to make those in-game adjustments like that, but Staley's got to be better. That defense has to be better. And I'm just really shocked by that, to be honest with you. You can't give up 500 yards on offense at home. You just can't.
Cool Kev chimes in. Staley runs the Chargers like he is playing Madden.
That's a good.
I actually have a mind-blowing stat on Justin Herbert. Let me find this one. I have it written down. Where is 15, 30, and 5 ATS in the second half?
Wow.
15, 30, and 5 ATS. Cool Kev also chimes in. Chick Mel Tucker was going after smoking hot. Cool Kev, Wade cheers. Matt chimes in. Can Tua be a dark horse MVP if he stays healthy? Very impressive game by him.
I believe so. I believe so.
Here's my thing. Like right now, all right, I'm going to pull this up real quick on my phone. I was looking at some futures. we tend to give out some futures now and then on this show. And I was looking at the MVP market, and Tua, I think, was the second favorite, if I remember correctly. Looking awards, MVP, Tua and Mahomes are both plus 700. Cool, Kev. I may not regret drafting taking Tua. No, you won't. Because if he's able to get that much production from Tyreek, and the thing that really stood out to me about the Chargers defense you were talking about, the Dolphins had no Armstead, who's their best offensive lineman, and they were able to create zero pressure, zero sacks on Tua.
Zero sacks.
Not the most fleet-footed dude. That was the one thing that stood out from.
Shocking they didn't have 2, 3, 4 sacks in this game, for sure.
They should have been able to get home. When you have Mack and Bosa and they're missing their best tackle. My first takeaway is this: same old Sean Payton. Anyone that has listened to my stuff for the year, I'm not the biggest Sean Payton guy, because I really feel there was a 2 to 3 year gap when he had the best team in the NFL with the Saints, and they had 0 Super Bowls to show for that. And his play calling got funky. He had this obsession with giving the ball to Taysom Hill for no reason. And what I saw Sunday was a little confusing, a little worrisome. Where was Marvin Mims? I know he was banged up, but still, you got to have Marvin Mims out there. You got to give him some run, because he is so explosive. The DBs are going to look over there. They're going to respect him. You're needing a TD. You have the ball inside the 15, and Javonte Williams, who's a breaking tackle machine, is on the bench, and you have Samaje Perine in there. Speaking of Perine, how the living hell is Perine your leading receiver? He led them in catches. He was their most productive pass catcher. Makes absolutely zero sense for me. Look, I'm going to be honest. I am loaded, absolutely loaded on Broncos future. I have the over 8.5 for them to win the West. I hated what I saw, but I will say this. You know what? After week 1, I'm already cashing one future, my friend. Aaron Rodgers under 3,950.5 yards. I can take that one to the bank.
Nice.
Week 1, earliest future I have ever cashed.
Cha-ching, my friend, on that one.
What is your second takeaway, my friend?
Well, I would like to add a little bit onto that too. Yeah, very shocking on the Denver receiving. I actually played Cortland Sutton's over receiving yards this last week, and that was dismal. I mean, they did involve a lot of players. I'll say that. How many did they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Over 11 people had catches in the Denver game. It's just nobody really stood out. They made no big plays. And
it was all the second half. Right. The first half, he looked good. You try to do that fancy onside kick.
Yep.
I just didn't. I don't know. I just really expected a lot more. Drew Brees made Payton go Raiders. Cool, Kev.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I guess going into my second
takeaway. Let's hear it, my man.
Jordan Love. I think we can say he answered the bell week 1. Going back as a Vikings fan, here we go again talking about Packers. What are we doing here? But hey, most shocking stat to me by far this week was that he led the NFL in week 1 in QB rating. 123, had 245 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. I just didn't expect him to play that good, even though, he didn't have Watson. The biggest thing was, I know the Bears defense, they come in projected as one of the worst defenses in the league on a couple different fantasy sites, at least bottom 5 on a lot of them. And for him to stay in there, it reports were that from the preseason, he was looking comfortable in the pocket. And on Sunday, I think he looked very poised. He was going through progressions. Taking care of the ball, obviously, is huge. The Bears, I think the Bears are going to be really bad this year. Cool, Kev.
Bears hibernating early this season.
Yep. No, I mean, it's, Love was able to buy time with his legs, which is a big thing for him. He did throw some inaccurate throws, but overall, man, he made some big-time plays. He showed he can avoid pressure, not make the big mistake. I think that LaFleur and the Packers have really put them in a great position to succeed. I think they've got a lot of talent and versatility around them. They've got a young squad for sure. They involved 9 offensive weapons before halftime, and they're just causing all sorts of mismatch problems and put a lot of stress on the Bears defense. You got rookie receivers Jaden Reed and rookie tight end Luke Musgrave. They both had 2 big catches, and reports from LaFleur is that their young guys really love to play ball. So they may cause some problems for the rest of the NFC. If they can continue to play like that, it's just the Bears. It's against the pack. It's just the Bears defense. I mean, I got to see them play against
Bears defense is
a better opponent. Yeah, I got to see them play against a better opponent for sure.
Good. Romeo Dobbs looked good.
Yep.
Good start. Gino and I are on his overs in receiving yards. Good start.
Yep.
My Thrive video was centered around Juwan Johnson and my boy Aaron Jones. Thank you, Bobby.
I don't know if he's going to play this next week either. That may be a big kicker's Jones with that.
Yeah, that could be. The thing people forget about Aaron Jones, which blew my mind when I was looking to this, he averages 5 yards a carry every year.
That's good.
Just 5 yards a carry. Big factor in the receiving game. You mentioned Jalen Reed. I'm going to go back to Michigan State, and it's going to pay me to say this. Norvell, the coach of Florida State, went to Coleman who used to play at Michigan State at Florida State now, goes, look, you had a better quarterback, better system. Jalen Reed would have been going first round. You come to me, I will make you a first-round draft pick in the NFL. He goes back down to Florida State. 2 weeks in, he looks like a first-round draft pick. Again, another knock on my boys at Michigan State, which I absolutely hate to say because I'm a Sparty through and out. My takeaway, too, is, look, Ravens injuries. There's always a team that has bad luck, it seems, a year with injuries. Last 2 years, it's been the Ravens. Last 3 years, excuse me. Let's just look at week 1. Already Humphreys was out. Humphreys didn't play in the game. So already you have one of your best DBs out. J.K. Dobbins, torn Achilles, out for the year. Marcus Williams, another DB. Pec injury, could be season ending, but they don't know. He has to do a little more tests. Starting center, Tyler Lindenbaum, ankle, could miss this game against the Bengals. Ronnie Staley, knee injury. So right there, that's 2 offensive linemen out. They lost Powers. So you basically they're going to be down 3 offensive linemen, which is a blow. And you're changing schemes. And you know what? I'm going to say it. I wasn't that impressed in week 1. I was not that impressed by week 1 at all. I really feel if CJ Stroud was able to move the ball better, Texans would have covered that game. There is not one thing that the Ravens did offensively when I sat back and I was like, wow, they're looking good. It wouldn't surprise me for the wheels to fall off. So I will give out this future. If you think the Bengals are going to win, Ravens plus 160 not to make the playoffs, maybe a small little investment because they could have a little bit of a hiccup missing 2 key offensive linemen for a couple weeks. And then we can get money going the other way.
I would play that. To be frank, to the beginning of the season, I had the Ravens only winning 10 or 11 games. That might shock some people, but I'm not that high on their offense. I still don't think their offensive weapons are that good. And Lamar Jackson, he's great. He can run, he can throw. I just don't. Their division is so tough. I think the Bengals, Browns, and Steelers are going to be better than them this year. But that was before the season. Now, after last game, obviously the 49ers destroyed the Steelers. They didn't look very good, but I still think the Steelers are going to bounce back. They're going to be a good team this year. I would not be shocked if Ravens finish last.
Which is possible. And losing key offensive linemen, I'm big in the
trenches. You can't have that. Yeah. No, the injury was huge.
So we'll make that the first future of the show. The Ravens plus 160. That's on DK not to make the playoffs. Now,
I'm going to play that.
We're going to go and look. Reed was on the show last week. And unfortunately speaking, Reed and I, we shit the bed. Reed had the Browns, Bears, and Chargers. I had the Titans, Steelers, and Giants. We were both 1 and 2. So looking to make a little bit of a bounce back from that. So how this works is Wade is the guest. Wade is going to kick us off, and he's going to give us 3 bets. We're going to alternate, one by Wade, one by me, back and forth. We'll each get 3. Wade, I'm going to let you go first, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, it's, after 1 week, you don't want to overreact too much. The thing is, I think my first pick, I'm going to go with the Bucks. I'm going to take them on their run line. It was -3 at -110 on DraftKings yesterday when I was looking at the line. I haven't looked today, so it may have already moved, but I don't think so. I'm really, after seeing the Bucks see what they did against the Vikings with their defense, and watching the Bears against the Packers, I just don't see how the Bears are going to travel down to Tampa Bay and get this game. Buccaneers defense looked very good against the Vikings, obviously causing the 3 turnovers and 2 sacks. I think that has a lot to do with the Vikings offensive line, but still, I think the Buccaneers defense is very stout. The Bears have a lot of issues to fix on both offense and defense. I think from that, it's just, the Bears allowed Love with a rookie to have a QB rating like he did. Packers put up 38 against the Bears at Chicago. I don't think the Bucs offense is going to be that great this year. I think if Baker can show consistency, week 1, or I guess first half in week 1, Baker looked awful, but then the second half, he looked very good, looked very consistent. If he can play like he did in week 2, I don't see how the Bucs don't come out with at least a 3-point win against the Bears.
Now, I know a lot of smart people, and they are insanely high on this Bucs team.
Really?
And right when it came out, right when the number came out, they bounced on it. Obviously it's kind of moved to 3. My thing is you kind of mentioned the Bears defense. I'm just kind of looking who's stopping Mike Evans, who's stopping Chris Godwin. You know what I mean? There's a lot of dudes, and you just kind of look at the Bears defense. In my eyes, it's a low-level college defense. They really don't have anyone that can stop the guys. Nope. Offensively. Look, I've been the biggest Justin Fields supporter, but there has to come a time where he can move the ball and get some wins. So look, I kind of like that. I think, I don't think they're going to move it to 3.5. I would just kind of watch it. If it drops down to 2.5, lock it in. But you know what? I'm fine playing that 3.
I would have loved to get it under 3, honestly, but I'll still take it at the 3. I am a big Justin Fields believer too, but after last week, he did not look like he progressed much. And they were talking about how great he was going to be. They brought in more, and they did nothing.
So I talked to, last week, Reed was on the show. Reed is a huge Chicago Bears fan. And I kind of laid out this scenario for for him. Now I'm going to lay it out for you. So they just lost the Packers 0-1. They go to the Buccaneers. Let's say they lose that game 0-2. Then you go to Kansas City 0-3. Then you play the Broncos, possibly 0-4. Short week at the Commanders 0-5. Then you play your Minnesota Vikings. The wheels can fall off.
This is going to be bad, I think.
This team wins, let's say 5 games.
Sure.
Do they move off of Fields and take one of these quarterbacks?
I don't think so.
Because I'm looking at Justin Fields' his contract.
Unless he has a really bad year the rest of the way.
You know what I mean? Because it comes a point where you're like, do I just start over? You know what I mean? Do I just start over?
For sure. And I do believe there would be some teams out there that would take him, that would make a trade for him.
So that's just kind of something to think. Do you start over if they don't do it? My first bet is I am going to the Cincinnati Bengals -3. Joe Burrow is 58% ATS as a home favorite. Anyone that knows me knows I look at betting football as selling high and buying low. Bengals had an awful matchup against the Browns. Plus, since 2016, teams that lost by double digits playing a team that didn't lose by double digits are 67% ATS. They're playing a Ravens team that didn't look good against the Texans. Lamar Jackson's passes were floating. Texas front was able to create pressure, and now they're going to be without 2 offensive linemen. This Bengals front with Reader, Hendricks, the whole 9 yards, this is better than the Texans front. It's going to be able to be living in that back field and making Lamar uncomfortable. Also, Humphreys, all out. Who's guarding Jamar Chase, who averages 7.5 receptions, 115 yards per game against the Ravens? Look, Burrow missed the preseason. We went over it last week. Quarterbacks that didn't play in the preseason, 1-6 the year before, ATS, just because of the timing aspect. And there was awful weather. I think this is a great bounce back spot for the Bengals. I think they're insanely undervalued. I'm taking the Bengals here as the small home favorite. Give it to me -3, my friend.
I think the line should be more, to be quite frank. My only worry in this game would be if, like you said, if they're getting pressure on Jackson and they just can't get to him and he's able to escape and make a lot of big running plays to keep him in the game. I haven't looked into stats to see how he runs against the Bengals and how they bottle him up. But yeah, I'm shocked that the line was so low when it opened up, especially with all the injuries the Ravens have. Perfect bounce back spot for the Bengals after that letdown last week. I mean, I was pretty high on the Bengals last week and probably shouldn't have been as far as player props. Burrow did nothing. Obviously, Chase did nothing. So, yeah, how are the Ravens going to hold them down this week?
I love the matchup. I get it. I absolutely love the matchup. I'm looking on StatMuse right now, and it only has his passing yards. Most passing yards he's ever had is 257 against them. Let me see if it goes rushing yards. Gotta love technology. All right, here we go. Rushing yards. So in 19 and 18, 152 and 119, 58, 88, 97 last 3 games. So maybe that would be the thing. Maybe if they were able to get home, he was able to rush a little bit. I just think this is a bounce back spot. I'm high on. There were 2 teams I was insanely high on in the offseason. One was the Cleveland Browns, which I liked what I saw a lot. Got him at 35-1, got him to win the North, got him to make the playoffs. The other one, the Atlanta Falcons. Got them across the board too. And I liked what I saw from both teams.
Yep.
Wade, bet number 2, my man.
Well, leading with your Falcons backing, I'm actually going to go with the Packers at Atlanta. Going back to the Packers again, man. I just think they looked very good, obviously against a questionable Bears squad. With Love looking the way he did, I think the Packers defense looked really good. They were explosive off the ball on the defensive line. They were able to put a lot of pressure on Fields, at least. I think that Jones's injury with the hamstring injury may throw in some wrinkles, but I think Dillon can step in and obviously carry the ball for them. I was just very underwhelmed by Desmond Ridder and how they used his weapons against the Panthers. They didn't get London Drake the ball at all. I just, and that was against the Panthers defense that, he was efficient. They just didn't throw the ball a lot. They looked like they leaned heavily on the run game, short to intermediate passes. And I just think the Packers defense is better than the Panthers, and they were able to get 4 sacks on Ridder. So I think Packers are going to be able to get to Ridder. I think they'll be able to at least cause a couple turnovers, which they didn't have any turnovers. Yeah, for real. London's out there. He played more than 60% of the snaps, and he's out there just running around.
Yeah.
I just don't see how they're going to lose this game. I think it's going to be a closer game than the Bears-Packers for sure. The Falcons have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. Obviously, the new Falcon, Jesse Bates, had 2 interceptions versus the Panthers.
Ridder.
I think I like Ridder better than Mariota. I think Ridder can be good if they can contain him. He can be a game manager. They've got a good running team. I think they've got good players on defense too. I just, the Falcons came in with a projected bottom 10 ranked defense. I just think the Packers are going to be able to do enough to at least win this money line. I was going to take the -1 at -110, but by the time we got to around this, that line's already moved to I think 1.5. I'm not comfortable with that. I think I just like the money line. I think they'll at least win by a field goal. We'll see. I think with the Packers' momentum coming off this last game, I think I just like this play.
I think there's certain games we're going to learn a lot, and I think that's where this game falls.
Yeah, I could completely be wrong on this game.
Because just kind of looking at trends, teams that start 2-0 historically make the playoffs. So the probability is one of these teams is probably going to make the playoffs.
And a lot of people were high on the Falcons to win this division.
I was high. In my eyes, it's pretty clear what they are. They're going to run the ball and they're going to lean on their defense. Put Ritter in minimal situations. I don't know. For me, this is the game that I'm going to learn the most. Atlanta getting ready for Caleb Williams. Here's my thing on Caleb Williams. I said this a couple years. I said this when Jim and I did our Pac-12 preview for the college football tailgate, which is live every Saturday morning. Caleb Williams makes $12 million a year at USC. $12 million a year at USC. Now, I'm older than you, but I know me looking back when I first came out of college, if I could stay in college, live the college life in LA and be making $12 million a year, I'm doing that one more year instead of going for some franchise like I don't want to go to. So it wouldn't shock me if Caleb Williams actually stays in school. As crazy as it sounds, it wouldn't shock me. And with that being said, I actually did put a little money on May, the quarterback from UNC, to be the top overall pick.
Wow.
So just a little bit, a quarter unit. You know what I mean? Like if I'm looking at it like that.
Smart.
My second bet, and anyone that watches these shows knows how I roll, what I do. We're going down to Nashville. We're taking my boy, Money Mike Vrabel, +3. We're taking the Titans +3. As a dog, he is an absolute insane 24-15-1. That's 61.5% ATS. As a dog, when getting 3 points or more, 23-9-1. That is 71.9% ATS. I'm getting a better coach at home, and I'm getting points. We talked about the adjustments before. We all know the second half is about adjustments. And the fact that Herbert is 15-30-5 ATS in the second half just shows how poorly coached this team is and the lack of the second half adjustments. I don't trust the Chargers defense to be able to stop the run or create pressure. We talked about it before. They weren't able to get home against Tua with no Armstead. I don't think they're going to be able to get home against Tannehill. I think the Titans are going to lean on Henry and Spears, open up that run game, then open up the play action pass game. I expect a bounce back game from Tannehill, who didn't play the preseason. This is a great bounce back spot. Give me the home dog +3. Spirit 22, Vrabel.
Yep.
Tomlin let us down last week, Uncle Rico. I think it's more that Cam Hayward went down because when you look at the splits, when Hayward was in versus Hayward was out, and then also Pickens just made some awful things. We do have one question here. Cowboys or Giants defense week 2? I prefer the Giants matchup, but I'm not sure. I look at it like this. I would probably you have Zach Wilson on the road. I would take the Cowboys. Cowboys defense, we talked about it during the East preview. Super Bowl type defense. Able to get pressure, able to get some stacks. Thing about the Giants defense is you can still run on them. I think the Cards will lean on Connor a lot, but I would definitely think the Giants defense is worth a punt in the millionaire maker on DraftKings or FanDuel. Bet number 3. What are we working with here, my man?
We are going to go with the Saints on the road. I'm going to take them -3, -115 on DraftKings. They just lost Horn again for multiple games. He's out. I think the Panthers have some playmakers on defense that could pose problems for Carr and the Saints, but they allowed a 111 QB rating to Desmond Ridder. And I think Carr is a much better QB with better weapons at his disposal right now. I think Olave is going to be a problem. I don't see who's going to slow him down. I think he's going to get over 100 yards, maybe a touchdown, maybe 2. I think they're really going to try to get Carr over 30 pass attempts this game. Again, maybe 32, 33. Panthers were only able to muster up 10 points. And Bryce Young was held to a QB rating of 48. And I just think the Saints defense is much better than the Falcons last year. And they were projected to be a top 10 defense again this year. So against the rookie QB, I think they're going to run the ball. I think they're going to pass the ball. I think they're going to, I really see the Panthers only scoring maybe again 10 points. So I think the Saints are going to win this by more than 3. I just don't really have any faith in the Panthers right now.
Let's make money. Said it. Out of all the quarterbacks, Young looked the worst.
Sure.
Happy in the box.
I just think their playmakers are weak. Their running backs are they're just not ready yet.
Let me ask you this. I played the Falcons. I'm in a couple survivors. I played the Falcons in one of them. And my thing was this. I knew the point I knew the Falcons were going to win the game, and I'm not the biggest Frank Reich guy, is when they drove all the way down the Panthers, 4th and short, opening drive. You're an underdog. You have a young quarterback who doesn't have success. Just take the points. It's not the 4th quarter. Just take the points. Put a little scoreboard pressure on the Falcons, who's starting a young quarterback themselves. Show Young you can do it. I think now I'm heavily invested in Texas Longhorn futures, hook 'em horns.
Yep.
But I think that was a real under the radar things Stark did was they got that early pick. It was 4th and short. Instead of going for it, he just kicked the 3, kind of to show. I think putting scoreboard pressure in the game of football in your opening drive when you have a younger defense, a younger team, is a big thing teams don't do.
Yep.
That to me right there, that's when I knew that the Falcons were going to win that game. To me, this game, I think this is prop central for me. I think this is going to be a heavy props game. You can kind of take advantage because the Panthers do have some issues. I think Williams's rushing props are going to be down. Maybe the kid from TCU, Miller, if he's able to be back, I think his props will be down. I think there's going to be advantage to get some rushing props against this Panthers front. I like this play a lot. Saints -3 for Wade. My next one, and don't worry, buddy. Don't worry, C-Spear22. I am not going to my boy Tomlin, even though I am going to be betting the Steelers. I'm a huge Lions fan, but I'm taking the Seahawks +6.
I was going to make the Lions my 3rd pick too, +5.5 or -5.5. Sorry.
Pete Carroll, 47, 31, and 3. That's 60.3% ATS as a dog. Carroll, after losing by a touchdown or more, 57.9% ATS. I mentioned the double-digit points, 67%. But if that team is playing on the road since 2016, ATS 24-1. I mean, dude, that's a pretty big trend. That's a 25. That's a good sample size. I'm a huge Lions fan. Look, I'm rocking the Lions. I got a Matt Stafford signed jersey right there hanging up. But the Chiefs didn't have Chris Jones to create pressure. They didn't have Travis Kelce, who is such a big part of their third down offense for the Chiefs. And Kadarius Toney couldn't catch a ball to save his life. Couldn't catch a ball to save his life. Now, hypothetically speaking, this game was at 3. Now I'm getting 6. If Toney makes those catches, this game is probably at 3. I'm getting an inflated line on the Seahawks. Look, I'm not saying the Lions are going to lose the game, but I'm getting 6. Give me the Seahawks here, plus the points. I'm going to be rooting for Geno Smith, and I'm going to absolutely hate it on Sunday. Plus, there's also the rushing attack. Lions were awful last year against the run. You have that good two-headed monster of Kenneth Walker and Carbonet. I like the Seattle here in the bounce back spot. Give me the +6. Wade, thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking some NFL. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media, Dub Club, the whole 9 yards?
Yeah, you guys can just find me over at Twitter, Wade's Bets _ after that. I'm on Dub Club. The link is in my bio on Twitter. I offer a free 3-day trial if you guys want to check it out. $19.99 a month. Can't really beat that. I don't charge too much for my picks. And that's about it, man. I really appreciate this. This is a great time. I think you just changed my mind on the whole Lions game. I'm going to have to consider that one. So, no, this is great, man. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on here. You've been great so far. You've been supportive, helpful. Couldn't ask for anything better, man.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you. We'll talk after the show. Line up another day in the future to come on. Make sure to give my boy Wade a follow. Until next week, boys and girls, let's make some money. Let's cash some tickets.